Yo, what's up, everybody? Since you guys all know it is tax season, I want you guys to know that today's sponsor is brought to you by Magnolia Tax Services. If you're a business owner or a high-earning individual, take control of your finances with the tailored tax planning services of Magnolia Tax Services. Their team of certified public accountants and enrolled agents specializes in maximizing savings for individuals and businesses by utilizing the latest tax laws and strategies. From complex business structures to high net worth individuals, they'll develop a customized plan to minimize your tax liability and increase your bottom line. Don't leave money on the table. Contact our partners at Magnolia Tax Services today for a consultation and get a $100 credit towards your service by clicking the link in the show notes. That's right, guys. Like I said in the beginning, it is tax season, so you want to make sure you tap in with my guys at Magnolia Tax Service today. And once again, that link is in the show notes. And now we'll get right into the show.
Gotta get your brain right if you're trying to make $1 million. If you ain't gonna do it for yourself, then do it for your mama. Only stay surrounded by them people if you know they solid. Elevate your hustle up today to double up your profit. Trying to learn some game, Xavier gonna talk about it. No Deanna, speak that shit that everybody vouching. Ain't no more excuses valid. Get up off the couch and get up in your bag. To your bank account, need an accountant.
Yo, welcome back to the greatest show on earth, the Millionaire Mindsets Podcast. I am your host, Xavier, and today I got another crazy episode. Before we get started, y'all better tap in, y'all better like, y'all better share, y'all better comment, leave that 5-star rating and review. And I also want to announce, so the Millionaire Mindsets Podcast, we are doing our first ever giveaway. If you've been rocking with the show, you feel like the show has impacted you, you've been rocking with me and D since the beginning. If you go on Apple Podcasts, you leave us a dope rating and review. I'll read all the reviews. So whoever leave us the dopest, most heartfelt review, we'll be giving away $1,000. And we're going to announce the winner. It's April now. We're going to announce the winner the first week of June. So you guys got until June to leave that dope review for us. You know, they only take a couple seconds. So whoever got the one that stands out to us the most, like I said, we're giving away $1,000. We're going to announce the winner on the show within the first week of June. So we're looking forward to all that. So like I said, y'all got about a month to make that happen. But get right into the show, man. So I got a special guest, man. I got a guy. He's going crazy. If y'all on social media, I know y'all see him unless y'all stuck on the rock. So I'm extremely excited to have him on this show. His name is Welby Accely. So welcome to the show, bro. What's good, man? I'm happy to have you here.
Man, I'm super humbled to even be here. Thank you so much. Can I say something to that? Can I give a giveaway too?
Yeah, let's get it.
So whoever wins that, I'm going to give you my online course to give them as well. It goes for $1,000. So I'm going to give the online course for anybody that does. So please support this brother because what he's doing is amazing.
Hey, y'all heard it. That's $2,000. That's $2,000 worth of value. I'm gonna give you $1,000 cash, and he gonna give away his program, which is worth $1,000. That's $2,000 in value. So, like I said, we announcing the winner the first week of June. So, if you support the show, you rock with us, y'all better go to Apple Podcasts, write their review. Gonna take you about 10-30 seconds, and there it is. But getting right into the show, brother. So, for the people, this may be their first time seeing you, hearing of you. Get some brief background on yourself, just to let the listeners and watchers know who you are.
The name is Welby Accely. Born in Brooklyn, New York. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. Now I live out in Long Island. I'm first generation Haitian American.
Okay.
And I speak the truth about the good, the bad, the ugly of real estate. So I'm a real estate investor, and I talk about my ups and downs, the mishaps, my wins, my losses, and ultimately I want to show people that whatever I'm doing, you could ultimately do the same thing I'm doing as well.
I like that. So getting right to it, so what got you into real estate?
What got me into real estate is, I would say that the first seed that was planted in my mind about real estate, I didn't realize that until much later in life, was my godfather. My godfather was a real estate investor as well, not to the level of what I'm doing, but he was a gentleman that when we were growing up in the projects, I'm one of 5 boys that my parents had. I'm also a twin, right?
Okay.
And we grew up in the projects in Brooklyn. And my godfather used to come visit me and my family, and whenever he would pull up to come and see us, he would always pull up in a nice vehicle, dressed really nice. And when he would then take us to go visit him in Long Island, that's the suburbs of New York City, he lived in a nice affluent neighborhood. And then I started realizing through conversations and just through hearsay that he owned his own real estate brokerage and he owned 1 or 2 rental properties. So he was able to live that lifestyle because of real estate.
Because of real estate.
So that influenced me at the age of 7. but I didn't realize that it influenced me at the age of 7 until I was about maybe 19, 20 years old. And then that's when around the idea of what was I going to do with my life. And I wanted to be, I don't want to sound cliche and say I want to be an entrepreneur, but I knew I wanted to do something. And that's when real estate started coming up, and the interest of, or the potential of investing in real estate started coming up. And then eventually it ultimately happened for me.
How old were you at this time when you got exposed to that?
To actually investing in real estate in real life. I bought my first piece of real estate at the age of 26, 27.
Okay.
I bought my first piece of real estate at that age.
And from my understanding, we talked before the show. You said all your properties is in Connecticut.
Well, now they're all in Connecticut. But what started me investing in real estate is that I started buying real estate in Atlanta. That was the first piece of property. I actually posted up a couple of days ago the first property that I bought, and ultimately the first property that I ended up losing. So I live in New York, and New York, everybody knows, is expensive. New York has always been one of the most expensive states in the country. And I was making decent money where I was working at. I was always hustling, doing something. So I wanted to invest. And since at that time, it was in the early 2000s, Atlanta started becoming like the Mecca for African Americans to go.
Right.
And I had a friend of mine who moved out there with his wife, and he was explaining to me the real estate that he bought and what he was able to do. And the same property that he bought at that time was $130,000. If we would have bought that same property in New York at that time, it would have been well over $300,000, $400,000. So then I said, you know what? With a lot of thinking and all, I spoke with me and my twin brother and a bunch of my friends, and I told them, guess what? I'm going to go out to Atlanta, not move to Atlanta, but I'm going to go out to Atlanta and buy me some property. So it was sometime in November of 2004, somewhere in that area, or 2003, I can't remember exactly. I flew out to Atlanta just before Thanksgiving, and I said I wasn't coming back unless I came back with a property under contract. And that's the property I bought. I got a property under contract, a 4-unit multifamily property in Stone Mountain, Georgia, and that was the first property that I bought.
Man, I got a lot of things I want to say to that. First, I want to say, clearly, obviously, you've been at this for a minute.
Yeah.
And I love, I know a lot of times people get caught up in seeing somebody become a multimillionaire at 21, at 19, and they like, oh man, this is so dope and motivational. But what's motivational to me is when I see somebody really got longevity in it. You know what I'm saying? That's more inspiring and more like, oh no, you serious? Because anybody could have a 1, 2, 3 year run or something. You just said 2003, 2004.
It sounds good, but when we get into the story, you'll understand why I tell people I share the good, the bad, the ugly of real estate. Because understand, I bought the property in 2004. By 2008, it was lost to foreclosure.
Because of the recession?
Yes. Part of the recession was big. That was definitely one of the points of why. But I take blame for everything. Okay. So even though I share about being taken advantage of with a lot of the parties that are within the real estate business, from realtors, contractors, mortgage lenders, it starts with you, the investor or the potential investor. I was ignorant. All right, I looked at things that I watched on HGTV late at night. I watched people that would always show just the glitz and the glamours, how properties are flipped, and I thought that that's what real estate was. So when I bought the property, I didn't understand proper acquisition. I didn't understand breakdowns of of being able to properly break down a potential opportunity to make sure if the deal makes sense or not. I thought that because I got to the closing table and signed that paper and owned that property, I won. I only found out after the fact that I purchased the property for way too much money. I didn't know that because I wasn't educated enough. I thought that the realtor would have been the person that would have properly educated me. But no, that unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And a lot of realtors hate the fact that I expose the truth to that level of business. The mortgage lenders, I just want to tell the audience that just because you got qualified to purchase a property does not mean that the property was a good deal.
Break it down.
I'll give you a quick breakdown of what occurred. I bought the property in 2004. When I bought the property, the intention of that property was supposed to be a rental property, right? I didn't understand cash flow. I didn't understand what my ultimate end goal was going to be with the property. When I bought the property, I paid $220,000 for this property. And at that time is when the subprime mortgages was popping, right? So I'm sure you know what subprime was.
Yep.
But if the audience doesn't know, the subprime mortgages was when essentially, as long as you had a pulse, they were giving you a mortgage at the time. Same thing that's happening today, everybody. So I just want everybody to understand what's happening in 2023 is no different. So at that time, I was able to get a mortgage with 106% financing, meaning I didn't have to come to the table with a dime at all. So for people that think they coming to the table acquiring property and not spending no money, that don't mean that you won. But I thought I won. So I got the property for $220,000, closing costs included. Everybody at the table got paid. So as investors, I want everybody to understand, an investor, we are the last people to eat. We are the last people to put money in our pocket. So everybody in that equation, from the realtor, the mortgage lenders, the appraisers, and then ultimately the contractors, all got paid. So I bought the property for $220,000. The realtor represented to me that the property should be able to rent per apartment for $1,000 each. There's 4 apartments. 4 apartments means my gross amount should be about $4,000. My mortgage, by the time I finished closing on it, was $1,800. That means with miscellaneous expenses, carrying costs, etc., paying the property managers, I should be left with, let's just say comfortably $1,600 a month, right?
Yeah, right.
I didn't come out of pocket anything. I owned the property. Guess what ended up happening?
What?
I had to pay the contractor to rehab this property. The contractor represented to me that the rehab work for that property was going to be roughly $20,000. I live in New York. I'm not from Atlanta. So the contractor represented to me a price. I paid the contractor. I didn't understand that these people who in this business are sharks.
Sharks.
So I thought that by paying, this person would be a man of their word, the realtor would be a woman of their word, and the numbers that was represented to me would come to fruition. What ends up happening, I go back New York. I say I'll be back in about a month and a half. Come back about a month and a half later, $20,000 spent, and not a damn thing was done to the property. So I lost my money on the $20,000. The contractor, I couldn't find them. And then I thought I could be a tough guy in a foreign city, thinking I could play street games. And the contractor made it clear to me, you understand that you're not from here, right?
Damn.
Got what I'm saying? So for all the people that are out there quick to jump on flights to go to other areas to invest, watch yourself, because it's serious like that out there. Anyways, I had to find somebody to do work for me. I had to find no extra money to get the work done. I got the work done, but I'm sure that you know that the work couldn't have been that good, right?
Right.
The same apartments that was represented to me that I can get at least $1,000 per, the most I was ever able to get out of those apartments was $500 a month. So that brings me down to $2,000 a month in rental income, total gross amount. Mm-hmm. Don't forget now, on the $2,000 a month, the mortgage was $1,800, which left me with $200, right? So some people say, well, at least I'm cash flowing. No, you're not. The property manager didn't get paid yet, and the property manager gets paid 10%.
10%.
So that meant now that $1,800, that the $2,000, the $1,800 that was left, I was paying the property manager $200, which meant now I was barely breaking even. The water bill, the miscellaneous maintenance of the property, I was in the red every month, $400 from the day I acquired that property. Okay? Long story short, we all know as landlords, tenants don't pay, so that doesn't mean that I was getting paid every single month.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
What ended up happening, I got presented with doing the quote-unquote BRRRR strategy. Right? Everybody talking about it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what ended up happening. The original purchase price of that property was $220,000. I went back to a mortgage company. They played with the numbers like what's happening today in 2023. And that same property that was purchased for $220,000 that was overpriced all of a sudden miraculously was worth $240,000. They gave me a mortgage of $240,000 on the refinance. Now I had a refinance on the $240,000, so now the principal price was increased. So since the principal price increased, what does that mean? The mortgage goes up. So the mortgage went from a $1,800 to a $2,200 a month mortgage.
And you in the red.
And I'm already in the red. So my situation only got worse.
$400 a month, $800 a month.
Now what ended up happening, I couldn't afford making payments. Tenants weren't making payments. I had to decide a serious decision. Welby, this is either your life or the property. Because financially I was destroyed, wiped out. Not only that, I was financially destroyed, my ego as a man was getting destroyed too. So then now I had to make a decision on economically, Welby, either you're going to have to let this property go or you're going to fight until you die economically. I ended up having to give it up and not make payments. My credit went from a 730 credit score at the time, and it dropped quickly down to a 600. Tenants knew that my property was going to foreclosure. They weren't paying. The bank started threatening me. Chase Bank started threatening me that, hey, this property is about to go to foreclosure. Property is about to go to foreclosure. Property about to go to foreclosure. Then one day I get notified the property went to foreclosure. So the property that I bought in 2004 for $220,000, 2 years later that I refinanced to $240,000, went to auction and sold for $60,000. My credit went from a 730 to a 6 and some change, below 500. So you understand what that did to me as a man, what it did to me as a human being, what it did to me as a person that took pride in handling his business. And here it is, I got wiped out. That's one of 3 times.
And that's your first deal, huh?
That's my first deal.
Whew.
So in real estate, and I appreciate the initial introduction of the tenure that I've been in the business, but understand, it took me, I'm in the game over 20 years now. It took me 13 years
to get it right.
To figure it out. I got wiped out in this business 3 times to 0.
3, oh, so the first one, that was the last one.
That was nothing. This is why I tell people there's nothing you could tell me about this business, and there's nothing that a person that has aspirations in this business to do that you can't tell me you can't do it, because what I've been through, you ain't been through what I've been through. The average person that went through what I went through, of being taken advantage of, losing everything to 0, having to build yourself back up, and did it 3 times, wiped out. The average person can't take that punch in the face once.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying?
I know that for a fact.
That was happening with that scenario. But if you want to get into the other situations, that's what occurred to me. Basically, I got wiped out 3 times in this business. And
same scenario with the other 2?
The next scenario, what happened was I got back into real estate again. In between that time, me and my twin brother was hustling. We opened up a car dealership. I had a tire shop. Those all failed. Right? Then I got into a situation with a lady, and I want the audience to Google it. Her name is Liliana Traficante. All right? And I also want, when you Google it, I want you to also in the Google put in G-O, Ocean Water Park Scam. Okay? So in that water park scam, there was a water park that was being built in upstate New York, in Goshen, New York. So the Go Ocean Water Park was a twist to Goshen, New York. This lady said to me, I found her because at that point I started loaning out money of my own. Right.
Trying to invest
because I'm trying to figure out.
Right.
She needed an angel investor to assist in the completion of the acquisition of this water park. So even though I scraped my knees up, made a lot of mistakes, I was always a person that found a way to make some money. So she needed an angel investor to invest, and when I invested, I ended up acquiring 40% ownership of this project.
Oh,
Google it.
How much you had to put up?
I put up at the initial injection was maybe $150,000 at the time, but ultimately long term I ended up spending about $400,000, and this $400,000 came from me. Grinding, hustling, pulling out money out my retirement fund at the time with the employment that I had. I bet everything on it because this is going to make me a millionaire.
It makes sense.
Right. That project with the initial injection, and you invest in real estate so you can understand the initial monies that I put up amongst other people, that was the initial bridge loan. We had meetings with the mayor of the city. We walked the land that we was doing it on. It was all real. So the bridge loan was giving us an ability to tap into the $243 million that was in wait for us to do what we had to do on our end. Right. What ended up happening is this lady started embezzling the money. She embezzled the money to the tune of over $6 million. With that, not only that I was invested with the ownership that I had, I found out that she then took and had when you have stock bonds of a business, and when you give a seal, you could give seals out with the business showing that you have a percentage ownership. She did that to me and 27 other people. So she embezzled over $6 million out of that project. One of the people became a whistleblower and contacted the federal government. Myself and the 27 other people were under investigation, unbeknownst to us, because then they were watching us with my phone. My phone was being tapped. It's Google it. You'll see me. You'll see my name all over it. And one day I get a knock on my door. Who's at my door? I'll never forget the gentleman's name. His name was Anthony Ryder. And he was from the federal government. Him and his partner knocked on my door, showed their ID, and said, can we come in? When they walked into my property, I'm terrified now because I'm like wondering what the hell's going on. I'm not into no dirt, nothing.
Right.
They started questioning me, asking me things. These people know everything about you. So they were asking me, how did I acquire this? How did I acquire that? I gave all the right answers. I was truthful. Then they said to me, do you know a lady by the name of Liliana Traficante? The moment they mentioned their name,
You knew it.
I knew there was something up with the water park thing.
Yeah.
Then the gentleman said to me, you were waiting for a wire to be deposited, which I was, from Chase Bank for a tune of over 400 and some change for the reimbursement of my initial money, and you haven't received it yet, right? I said, nah, I keep calling the bank, and I'm asking them, why is it the money's not released? Because all you see is pending. And he arrogantly said, that's because of me. So they withheld the money because they were watching her. They were tapping all of our phones to see to the level of what we were involved in and realized that none of us were involved in it except for her. Then that's when they divulged to me what she was doing. Long story short, they put a court case on her. When you guys Google it, you're going to keep seeing victim number 4.
Right.
Victim number 4 is me. So basically what ended up happening, she was found guilty, or she pled guilty. She was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison and ordered to pay us all restitution. Until this day, I have not received a dime.
Nothing.
Not a dime. So in between that, I got wiped out with that. Then now I'm diving back into real estate. I'm diving back into real estate. And at that point, when I dived back into real estate, it was similar to what happened during COVID. People were looking like superstars during COVID.
Facts.
You notice how they're quiet now, right?
Quiet.
They're quiet.
Me and my girl talk about this
You
all
see
the
how
time.
they quiet now, right?
Quiet, bro.
It's the same thing that happened for my next run. As long as you throw crap on the wall, you were looking like a superstar. So I made me a bunch of money. My ego got the best of me because you in the market that we're just coming out of, you did not have to know what you were doing
No
to make
skill,
some money.
no intelligence.
So I didn't understand how to maintain my business. By the end of that period, I get wiped out again to zero. Now bring me to my third. After I get wiped out, I decided I wanted to flip real estate again. I decided I'm gonna go back to Atlanta. This time, I thought I educated myself enough. I said I can do it. So I went back to Atlanta. This was sometime in 2012 or so, 13, somewhere in that area. If my date's a little off. And I found me a flip. I understood better how to acquire properly. So I bought the property correctly. I didn't know how to manage properly. Living in New York, I hired me a contractor, somebody that I know. He's going to watch me. He's going to see me right here. He knows who I'm talking to. I paid him to rehab the property. As he's rehabbing the property, he doesn't know what he's doing. The property's getting worked on, and as the property's getting worked on, the quality of the work was horrendous. I end up spending a bunch of money on the property, trying to get the property done. The property goes on the market. The market shifts a bit. The property value that I thought I could get on a sale dropped. At that point now, too, I had cut a lot of corners because, once again, I didn't know fully everything that I was doing. So what ends up happening, I put the property on the market. The value started going down because the market started pulling back. And I started being desperate. I needed to sell. I ended up selling that property at a loss of $60,000. I had to pay everybody back, so I had to take that L. When I got that loss, I got a check for $90,000. That was the balance that was left, so I was out 60 grand. I flew back home. On my way back home, my father is watching me. He's seeing his son over these years.
Take these L's.
Every time I get choked up thinking about it. Everybody's watching Welby going at this. Everybody's watching me, and I keep getting punched in the face, keep getting punched in the face. So I fly back home. When I fly back home, I go to visit my parents. I go downstairs. My father's downstairs. I walk downstairs. First thing he says, my father, I love him, but he's a nosy guy. BB, they call me BB for short for Welby in Creole. And he says to me, "Sak pase Kaila, what's going on with that house?" in Creole. Right. I said, "Yeah, I sold it. He said, "How'd you do?" I said, "Yo, I lost $60,000, but I got a check for $90,000. So I pulled out the check. I get choked up every time thinking about it. I'm telling you, brother. And he says to me in Creole, Bibi, ou fini avec ça? Welby, you done with this? You're done now, right? And I said, yo, look at me, I'm getting goosebumps.
You getting goosebumps, I see it.
I said, yo, nah, Dad, I got it. He says to me, what you mean you got it? I said, yo, I know what to do now. I know what to do now. Everything that I shared with you.
That's deep, bro.
Everything that I'm gonna break down to you what I did, because that $90,000 I turned into an empire. You understand? But I want to make clear, everything I'm talking about, if you keep listening to what I'm saying, it started and ended with me. It was my fault. I wanted to blame everybody else, and yes, everybody that was a part of it, they are to blame because you were scumbag for doing what you did. You were scumbag for what you were doing. But at the same time, I had to take accountability for my actions. And one of the things I tell people all the time is that I never was willing to bet on me. Never was willing to bet on me. If you came to me, or anybody at those times came to me and said to me, yo, Welby, you got $20,000 and I had it? You got $50,000 and I had it? You had $100,000 and I had it? I want to do X, Y, Z with that money. If you invest in me, I quit to give it to you. I thought that was what being a boss was, that I put up money and I set back and somebody else is doing the work for me and I'm making all this money. So I would bet on them. But if you would have came to me with the same exact scenario and said, Welby, you got it. Why don't you do X, Y, Z? I'd find every excuse in the book for me not to do it. So I had to take blame for myself for what happened to me in the past. So with that $90,000, when I told my father I got it, I'm going to bet on me this time. I'm going to bet on me this time. And I'm like, you know what? Even if I lose it all, I'm going to lose the money.
Not nobody else.
Not nobody else, because everybody else took my money anyways. So if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose the money. So I took that $90,000. So now you did ask me about Connecticut, how I got to Connecticut. Relationships. How did this relationship develop? I was working with somebody that does construction that was working in the city where I was at. A Portuguese guy. His name is oh God, he's got Jeff. That's my guy, Jeff. And Luso Home Improvement, everybody. He only works for me, so don't waste your time. He only works for me. So him and I were talking, and I was telling him, because a lot of people didn't know I was going through this in detail. And I told him, yeah, you know, I just finished. I got a property I'm about to sell in Atlanta, you know, and you know, I gotta find me someplace else to invest, you know. But I did not want to continue catching flights anymore. I was too premature in the business to be allowing somebody else to handle my business for me, which is what a lot of people continually doing. I wanted to be able to nurture my business myself to a point that the business could then handle itself like it's doing for me today. So then he says to me, Welby, I live in Connecticut. Why don't you come out to Connecticut and check Connecticut out? And so we started having conversations. In all my years, 40 plus living in the New York area, I've never been to Connecticut, and New York is right next door. Connecticut is right next door to New York. I've never been there in my life. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to come. So, okay, a couple of weeks later, this is when the check came, cash cleared. I'm calling them up. Hey, Jeff, I'm ready. I want to come. He says to me, I'm in Portugal now, but I'll be here next week. When I come next week, I'm going to invite you over. Okay. Saturday come. I'm asking all my friends, family, listen, I'm going to go to Connecticut, man. And you guys want to come with me? And you guys want to do this with me? What are you going to do? Yo, I'm going to go out there and start flipping houses. Reason being, so you understand why I decided I'm going to flip houses, bro. Matter of fact, let me rewind it, if I may.
Go
so
ahead,
you understand what happened. I was defeated with everything I just described that happened to me. But I knew that I wasn't stupid. I knew what to do, but what it was is that I kept cutting corners. Then one day, I can mention another podcast on here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a student of Bigger Pockets. So Bigger Pockets is one of the largest real estate platforms, right?
Yep.
So one day, me and Brandon is cool, one of the lead interviewers on there. And Brandon was doing, this is before he and I met each other and before they called me to be on there. Okay. I've been on there 3 times, everybody.
Talk your talk.
You feel me?
Talk your talk.
My dream and my goal was I want to be on that platform. My dream and my goal is I wanted to be on here too. Millionaire Mindset.
Let's get it.
See
you
how,
will.
Look at my goosebumps. God is amazing, bro. I said I'm going to be on here. Look at it, right?
Yeah.
So Brandon and his team was doing a webinar on flipping houses. I said, yo, I'm going to test myself. I'm going to go to that, listen to the webinar on Zoom. I'm going to have my notes, and whatever questions that they ask, I'm going to write it down, the answer, and see if I got it. So they're doing the webinar. I told everybody. And by that point, I was able to buy my first house finally. I was able to, my own personal house.
That you live in.
Yeah, I was renting at the time. I told everybody, yo, I'm going to be doing this webinar. And don't bother me. I'm going to be in the basement. I'm locking the door. Don't bother me. Yo, the webinar starts. They start talking about flipping. As they start talking about flipping, they start asking questions. And as they're asking questions, I'm writing it down. Bro, every question he put down, I answered it. It was right. Started putting up formulas. Everything he put up, he said, I was right. I answered. Then he started going through my man. I'm telling you, bro, I was out. If it was from 1 to 20, I was 19 and a half. Bro, I start crying. Start punching my fists.
Because you knew.
I knew I could. I start punching my fist. I start crying, not boo-hooing, but
like tears. Right.
So now fast forwarding to going to Connecticut, fast forwarding me receiving that $90,000, I said I'm going to bet on myself and I'm going to stick to the game plan. My game plan is you need money to invest in real estate.
Yep.
If you don't have a way of bringing sources of continual money coming in to feed your business, you're going to get stuck. This is the reason why a lot of people, when they get into buying real estate, if they're flipping, if they're wholesaling, if they buy and hold, they all get stuck. They don't know how to get over the hump. You need money. So what are you going to do, Welby? I'm going to flip real estate. I'm going to go out to Connecticut. I'm going to study the market. I'm going to understand what I'm going to do, and I'm going to follow the process. So I went out there. When I went out there, I utilized the people that know the area that I trust, which was Jeff. He told the realtor, I got this guy from New York that got some money that wants to invest. I want to introduce you to. So he introduced me to the lady. The realtor's name was Vinny. Jeff wanted to leave his employment to just work on construction in houses. So I said, Jeff, you and I, if I buy the property, you will help me to get the property rehab. So Jeff and his father became the people that's going to work with me on my team. So my job as the boss was to make sure that I properly acquire the property right, understand the rehab cost, and properly manage it. So that's what ended up happening. I went out there, and I'm going out there for weeks, maybe a month or so, and I'm putting in offers, but I know what my offers are calculated. The realtor, to the point, never worked with a true investor. She was blown away. She's asking me, how the hell did you learn to do this? And this, she could have been my grandmother. And I said, because of all the hell I went through,
all the else,
right? I know that this is where we need to be. So guess what ended up happening? No on the offers. No. Kept hearing no. Then one day, yes.
all it takes is one.
That's it, bro. My man, before I even acquired the property, I know I was going to make money. I already knew I was going to make money.
You knew.
So Jeff and his father rehabbed the property. I paid them respectfully. I ultimately got the property completed, put the property on the market. When I put the property on the market, the property sold a couple of weeks later, maybe a month and a half, 2 months later. I made back my money plus a profit of $23,000. It might as well have been $23 million, bro.
That's what.
Because
man, I always say that first W.
It reaffirmed me that what I'm doing it right.
Doing it right this time.
So we went on it again. And I did it again. I did it again. I did it again. I did it again. While I'm doing it again and again, Jeff was still working. And Jeff approached me and said, Welby, I don't want to work for nobody no more. Do you think that you can keep me busy enough? I don't have to commute from Connecticut to the city. I could spend more time with my family. I said, yeah. I said, yo, just trust me, bro. Yeah. He hasn't worked for nobody for the past 7 years.
Amazing.
We went from doing one property like the one I gave you the example, the initial one, from the time I acquired it, fixed it, and sold it, took maybe 6-7 months, where we were doing 1 or 2 properties a year. So then we started catching the stride, doing 20 to 30 flips a year, with an average return profit after everybody got paid, from my contractor to the hard money lender when I started introducing them to everybody else, to the tune of at least $75,000 each or more. So do the math yourself. Do the math yourself, right?
Yeah.
Everything I'm telling you, call me out on. I got the receipts, brother. I got the receipts.
I already know you do. I already know you do.
So what happened? Understand what my goal was. Every investor's long-term play in real estate needs to be passive income. Because I realized with everything that I was saying that I was doing from 2004 to the present of where I was at, I'm only as good as the last flip that I did. So if I don't do any more flips, or if the market makes a major shift or anything like that that slows down inventory, that means my money stopped. That's what caused a lot of people, including myself, to lose everything. The tsunami of real estate downturn is happening again today. So that's the reason why I'm super excited about what's happening today. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of blood in the water, but I'm ready for it.
You're ready now.
So in my flipping, where my goal of flipping was, I want to build up enough capital so I could start buying me rental properties, because I want passive income. But I'm going to buy my rental property strategically. So I flip to the tune of having saved up over 7 figures. Do your own math. Do your own math. I stacked over 7 figures of liquid money in my bank account with the intentions of utilizing this money to buy me passive income. So then what did I do? I had that money. I had to determine where is it I want to start investing in, right? What I'm saying to everybody works everywhere. So it's not because it's Connecticut or New York or Atlanta. It works everywhere. So the goal for me was, I stacked up 7 figures. Now I got to do something with this bread. So I said, now I got to start looking for multifamilies. So I started looking for multifamilies, and I started doing my recon. You was in the armed forces, so you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I was in the armed forces, but I know. So I had to do a recon. So what was my recon? I want to start investing in this area. So let me start doing my homework in this area versus me letting somebody else, betting on somebody else to tell me. So I started going in the area, going to the corner stores, dressed like, we're from the hood, so we know how to move and maneuver, right?
Yep.
So I was going over to the stores. I started going to the corner bodegas, getting me a sandwich to eat, hanging out in the corner, go to the barbershop, fronting like I want to get a haircut just so I could see the vibe. Yo, you want to get a Nah, I'm just checking to see, who I'm going to go with. With no intention to get my haircut there, I want to see the energy. So then I said, I don't want to invest over here. I want to start going over there. So now when I say I want to go over there, I started looking myself. I treat myself like a sniper. Snipers don't shoot everything.
Nope.
You don't want to let other people see where you perched up, because then you're going to be a target. But a sniper is ready with his hand on the trigger and the whatever you call it, the sniper gun, full with bullets. What's my bullet? What's my gun? Mm-hmm. My gun is me. I'm the gun. What's my bullet? My bullet is my money. I have the cash ready to go. So now when I said I'm going to go for looking for passive income.
That's a hell of an analogy.
But here's what I want to say to my people. I want to hear my people. People that look like us. I need you guys to stop having this mentality or this attitude when it comes to the most important investment in your life. How can you get into it the cheapest way possible? I need us to stop that. But yet everything else that's not as important, we're willing to drop the bag on it, right? So I was that guy that was driving around in a Lexus that I had only $30,000, but it cost me $33,000 to buy it. I put the whole $30,000 and asked my mother for the other $3 so I could look the part. You get what I'm saying? But yet, that same $30,000, I had an opportunity in New York to put down on a brownstone that's worth over $2 million today, and I said, I'm not doing it. So I want my people to understand my mentality. The reason I saved up that money, my intentions with that money was to use that money as a down payment of 20% to acquire that property. 20%, no PMI, and put me in the best position possible for what my payments on my property was going to be, because I wanted my mortgage payments to be as low as possible so that my cash flow could be as high as possible. So with that attitude, I know I had the money to go. I'm looking at properties that were distressed and or underperforming. Those are the multifamilies I'm looking at. Distressed and or underperforming. Distressed meaning the value of the property could be X. So we need to know as investors how that we can add value to a property, that we could see the beauty of the property that nobody else can see. So that's the distressed property. The underperforming property could be that you have a landlord that's currently owning a property that he's renting out the apartment for $500 that you know you can get $1,000 out of it. So distressed and or underperforming. So what did I do? I found me a property out there. When I found the property out there, the property was listed on the market for $170,000. I negotiated it down to $120,000, but I already knew it was worth $350,000. Not only it was worth $350,000, it was listed as a 3-family, but because I did my homework, I knew it was a 4-family. With me buying it at the 120, I did my math. At the 120, each apartment was being rented for around $600. I already knew I can get $1,600 for the same apartment, for the same one. I bought the property. Put my 20% down. I had the money.
Exactly.
Got me?
Yep.
I put my 20% down. My mortgage on that property, that's one of my flagship properties. I own a bunch of them, but this is one of my flagship properties. The mortgage on that property today with an interest rate of 5.25%. So with everybody going crazy, trying to get the lowest interest rate, who cares about the interest rate? It's not about the interest rate. It's about the deal. You understand? Because this is a mind game that people are playing with our people, especially because you want to believe that you're getting it for the low. That means it's good. No, it's not. I don't have a single property that's below a 5.25%, 6% interest rate today. And my cash flow is heavy. So I'll give you an example of my cash flow.
Let's talk about it.
Am I talking too much, bro?
No, hey.
Okay.
You see, I'm chilling.
Okay.
You talking that shit
So I'm going
right
to give
now.
you real numbers. I bought the property for $120,000. Today, that property is worth over $450,000, okay? I financed on that property $90,000, okay? The mortgage I owe on that property less than $80,000 today, so that means I already got $300,000 in equity. I spent about $60,000 rehabbing the entire property. How did I get a 4-family rehab for $60,000? It's because I built up my own team. So my team of people, thank you, Jeff, again, I could get my properties done where he's going to get paid handsomely, but I get it done at a price that's going to work for us investors, because us investors never pay retail. Understand that. So if you're paying retail and you're representing yourself as an investor, you're playing the wrong game. We don't do that. So when I bought the property, the mortgage on that property is $1,170 per month. Taxes, insurance, principal, interest. Okay? Let's make it a round number of $1,200. The first apartment that I got rented out, I'm getting rented out right now for it's rented out for $1,350 to be exact. But it's going up, it's going up to $1,500 now. So at my one apartment covers all my expenses. Everything. The next apartment, I get $1,500. So I'm already up $1,600 a month in net positive cash flow. The third apartment, I get $1,900 for it. The fourth apartment, I'm getting over $2,000 for it. So for a property that I strategically purchased for $120,000, put a 20% down payment, put the $60,000 to fix it, that meant I'm all in on the property, I was in it for just under $90,000, all in on the property. This property today cash flows me positive, net positive $5,000 per month. Profit in my pocket. It took me to recoup all of my money, every dime of my money, less than a year and some change. So I've owned this property now several years now. I have none of my money in this property, and it puts a positive net cash flow in my pocket every month for the rest of my life, $5,000 a month. And we're not even counting the equity that I haven't even touched.
Interest don't matter. I see why you said that.
And I did that on that one street. With where that property is, I have 3 properties. That's not counting the other ones I have in the other areas. You see on my Instagram, I put them up all the time.
I see it.
On that one street alone, I have in real estate value about 1.2, 1.3 million.
On one street.
On one street. With a debt, one of them, I just told you, with a debt of 80-something thousand. The average debts on my properties are in that general area. So let's just make a round number of 300,000. So I have a debt of 300,000, but with a market value of 1.3 million in real estate, just on that property,
on that street,
just on that street. So I did that when I did it the first time. like I did with the flipping, I said I'm gonna do it over and over and over again. So I did it again the second time. I did it again the third time. I did it again the seventh time. I did it again the 10th time. And then that's where I'm at today.
How many properties you got now?
I got a lot. Right here, I'm going to explain to you why I don't say, I'm going to explain to you why I don't brag about that.
Okay.
For everybody, you should be focusing on the quality, not the quantity.
Talk about it.
Okay? Because people love to promote and push. I got 500 doors. I got 1,000 doors. I got
400 of them.
Okay. And they ain't making no money. So me, I don't focus on the quantity. I focus on the quality. I focus on my cash flow. So I gave you an example on the one. On the one, I'm doing $5,000 a month. On that one street, I'm doing just about $13,000 a month in net profit. Just off of that one street. Just off of that one street. I posted another video with on another street, not too far, walking distance from him. I got 10 units on that one block. I got 10 units. One on the corner, it's a 6-unit building, and just up the block is a 4-unit building. So I got 10 units in that one block. Between the two properties, that 6-unit is worth over $600,000. I bought it for $270,000. Followed the same process I told you. I owe the bank not even $200,000 on it today. So I got $400,000 in equity. The property up the block, I only bought that property in August. I bought that property. This past August, I bought that property that's worth $425,000 for $165,000. So in debt between the two properties of the $200,000 plus the $165,000, where we at? Barely $400,000 in debt.
Yep.
Between the two properties, they're worth $1.2 million. Just those two properties. Just on that street in net, I only talk net.
Talk that talk.
It's over $10,000 a month. I pull off of just that. So while the next gentleman or lady can have off of that street 30 properties, I'm doing more money in net income off of my 10 off in that one street than you're doing with your 30. So when people lead with that, it's a false representation of the truth. So if you ignorant to this business, you will like to assume that because John Doe says he has 500 units and Jane Doe has 50, John Doe must be making more money than her, and his net worth must be bigger than hers when it's not true.
That's facts. Yeah, that man, yo, you first of all, it's so many things I want to say right now. My brain, because you just gave everything you said, bro, on some real shit that was like very, very powerful. Because first of all, I feel like a lot of young people, like I said in the beginning, so many of us, we want success at an early age without realizing to get to success, you got to go through a lot of bullshit first. And the reason so many of us don't have success because we ain't been through no bullshit. We not even giving ourselves an opportunity to take a L to get to the W. And to hear your story, you talk about L after L after L. When I know for a fact, 99% of people walking away from that game, they saying, forget real estate, it ain't for me, this ain't it.
And I take L's today too. Still, I still take L's too.
L's.
That's the nature of the business, you know. So I post up a lot about issues with tenants, and either tenants destroying the apartment purposely or just in the manner of how they live, or that rehab work blew up because something unforeseen happened. That's the nature of the business. But here's the thing. A boxer can't come into the ring expecting to be champion and never get touched, right?
Facts.
Floyd Mayweather is somebody that I love what he does.
Same.
And he's been bloodied. He's been through the ringer, but he's the best ever.
Yep.
So you cannot expect to walk into this business, and I hear this all the time, that people say when they want to invest in real estate, I don't want to because I'm afraid to lose. Listen, it's not if you're going to lose.
You're going to lose.
You are going to lose. It's the nature of the business. But if you take the information, you apply the information properly, the odds are more in your favor than not that you're going to win. And now a loss could mean also that you projected to make 100,000, but you end up making 70. Technically, it's a loss, but you know how much you learned off of that loss in the 30? That means the next go around, you're going to be that much better in what you're going to be doing. So I really would wish that people would understand that this business, I beg people to join it. They call me the Jehovah Witness of real estate, right? And I say this with the utmost respect for Jehovah Witnesses. The reason why I say that is because they are compassionate in their belief.
That's true.
And everybody knows if you encounter them or you see them and you give them a second to talk with you, they're gonna talk to you about.
They're gonna go in too.
All right, you see me, you bump into me, you better believe Welby's gonna talk to you about real estate. Real estate is a must. You gotta be investing in real estate. I don't care if it's your primary residence or if it's something that you're looking to do as a business. You have to invest in real estate.
You have to, because everything is real estate at the end of the day.
Thank you.
School, go to the hospital, you go to the church.
Thank you.
Graveyard.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
From life to death.
That's right.
It all involves real estate.
That's
from
right.
hospital to the graveyard.
That's right.
Real estate.
That's right.
So that's, man, you and to the young people that's watching and listening to this, man, I want to say, y'all hear Welby what he's saying. I want that really to touch y'all. I want y'all to really feel that, because in life, what you saying, it applies to everything. Like whether you're in real estate, you are the athlete, you working 9 to 5. This stuff apply to everything. If you want to win with what you're doing,
that's right.
It's like you got to go through the fire.
That's right.
You can't be. You got to go through it. You are gonna come out on top if you keep pushing. Your mind get right. So that's
why I wish that people they would ask the right questions. Because on my Instagram, I bark a lot. I'm very passionate, but I've been through a lot. You know, I've been through a lot in this business, and this is why I want other people that's going to come behind me to not have to suffer in the manner that I did. I want the people that's going to come behind me. I want all the potential investors. I want the qualified buyer. I want everybody to understand that this business does not move without us. Nothing in this business can happen without us. Now, the people that work in this business hate that I say that. Why? Because I'm empowering people too much. So when I say who's us, I say to people who us are is the qualified buyer and the investor. The qualified buyer and the investor is one and the same, but then of course the qualified buyer is as well. Now, who the qualified buyer is? The person that's qualified to be able to acquire that property. If the qualified buyer or the investor is not qualified to acquire that property and sign his or her life away and take that risk, nobody at that table can get paid. The banks can't get paid. The mortgage lenders can't get paid.
That's
the
facts.
realtors cannot get paid. The contractors cannot get paid. The attorney cannot get paid. This business moves with us. So I want to empower these people. The people that go through my mentorship, they've never been talked to that way, because you know why? They're accustomed to the realtor running the show. The most realtors won't want to work with the likes of us that understand that, because you're making them work too hard. You understand? Because you dictating the narrative of where you need to go. I need the people to understand, just because the mortgage lender wrote down and gave you the approval letter does not mean that that's a good deal, because a mortgage lender is not an investor. A realtor is not an investor. Mm-hmm. So you as the investor has to understand what your ultimate end goal is with this particular property that you're buying, and does it align with it? If it doesn't align with it, have the ability and the strength to walk away. So that's why I'm here to empower people, my people especially, for people to understand this business don't move without us, period.
Hey, you giving out so much, there's so much value in this conversation, bro. Like, and I know I'm telling you,
we haven't even scratched the surface.
We ain't scratched.
Man.
I know that's
Not
what
even close, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. We haven't even scratched the surface of this conversation. But I want to ask is, like, you mentioned like a good deal. Just because you at that closing table, you close, because you see so many people talking about I'm buying real estate on Instagram. They be just thirsty to show I'm buying real estate, which is all dope. Like, we all
no, it's not dope. No, it's not.
I'm saying the fact that they in the industry.
That's the problem.
Ooh, okay.
That's the problem.
Okay.
There's too much ringing of bells in real estate offices because you bought a property, you got the property under contract, and you ultimately close. Buying real estate is not a win. That's not the win. Just because you got your LLC, that's not a win. Just because you was able to obtain a credit card or credit limit, that's not a win. That's the start of what you need to do. So now I hear people constantly that say to me all the time, when they bought the real estate property, I said to them, how do you like that cash flow? Pay attention. You just finished buying a property for $750,000 and your net cash flow after all expenses is paid is $100 a month. How do you like it? When you put their back against the wall to answer that question for themselves, well, you know what? I just want to get my feet wet. That's the problem. Because that's what I wanted to do in 2004 is get my feet wet. And you saw what happened to me. You saw what happened to me. So that should not be that. Now, here's what I want to tell people. Pick a side. Either you're an investor or a retail buyer. Whatever side you choose, there's nothing wrong with it. We work to acquire monies so that we could spend it. So I know that you just had a beautiful baby.
Yep.
You might want to spend $1,000 on Gucci shoes for the baby, knowing that the baby is not going to be able to wear it after a month from now. Guess what, bro? If you worked hard enough for it and you want to frivolously spend that and keep it as a souvenir, go ahead and do it. But you're doing it because you know clearly why you're doing it.
I'm doing it.
Okay? But when you are saying that as a buyer, that your goal is to find generational wealth, which I hate that term. I hate that term.
Why?
Because it's a marketing. It turned into a marketing strategy.
Facts.
And especially in our community.
Yes.
And I'm tired of our people constantly shoving that down our people's throat about generational wealth, and then making people feel what's the word I want to use? Guilty that they're not setting their next generation up so that they could supposedly live that generational life. Everybody, if you listen to the word, is generational, means continual. Okay? Not generational meaning one generation. You understand? So parents, you're doing your thing. Be proud of yourself. You busting your tail. You sending your kids to the best school that you can give them. You also want to better yourself. Bravo to you. Put your kids in the best position to then pass them the baton and let them do their job. So I really wish that we would stop this generational wealth marketing to our people and then making our people. This is the reason why our people are doing penitentiary chances.
Real talk.
This is the reason why our people are doing these PPP scams and all the other stuff that they're doing that'll get your ass locked up because you feeling that you need to do this to level your family up. Nah, this takes time. This takes time. You know, my mentees, I'm not trying to tag I gotta keep it real. Mm-hmm. You line yourself up with somebody that's actually doing this stuff in real life, they're gonna shorten your learning curve tremendously. Mm-hmm. I got my mentees that have been with me and in less than a year have done what took me 13 years to do. Literally. I post them up all the time. What took me 13 years, they've done it in a year. So I tell everybody, I want you to be better than me. I want you to be bigger than me. I'm good. I'm not trying to chase or beat you. I want you to do your thing. But I need you guys in the changing market that's happening. This is the market that you've been waiting for. This is the market. All you people that are saying that you want to invest, you want to change the trajectory of your family, it's here. It's here. So I ask you, are you ready? So everything that happened to me, I thank God he prepped me for today. He got me ready for today, bro. So while everybody is using triggering scare tactics, I'm not paying attention to the BS, man. Watch and see the people that you aspire to do that's doing it in real life, what they're doing. Not the ones that are telling you what you should be doing that don't do it. So this is the market that you've been waiting for. So dive in. But do it right, though.
Yo, we got so much. And I want to say, this is just, I'm letting y'all know right now, this part one, we finna wrap this up. We finna head to another studio. We finna get it in. We finna get it in for real, bro. You got that time, we finna get it in.
I appreciate
it. Before we close this one out, plug all your stuff where people can find you, follow you, become a mentee, and all that.
Well, the name is at my best 197. So that's at the word at Apple Thomas, my best 197. And for the people that ask where that 197 came from, this is gonna be beautiful. You're gonna like this, right? I grew up in Hollis, Queens, on 197th Street.
Where DMC from?
I love that. the house that my parents bought that we still own today was bought from DMC's family, where DMC lived. That's the house that we own today. So that's the reason why I put the 197 on that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's where that came from. So that's my Instagram at my best 197. And then as far as anything that I'm offering, if you guys go on my page, you can click the link in my bio and you can download my free ebook. Also, for the people that are interested in being part of my mentorship, I got the hottest mentorship out.
Bet. I believe
Listen, brother, I'm the hottest thing moving. If you're looking for somebody that truly cares about you, if you're looking for somebody that truly want to see you win, if you're looking for somebody that's going to hold you accountable, if you're looking for somebody that you can get directly in contact with, that's literally doing this, that's a multi-millionaire and got the receipts to prove it, and you want to get them on the phone, that's being mentored by you, nothing comes hotter than me. Nothing comes hotter than me. And I teach the people. It's called the Flips to Profits Mastermind. And I give you guys the breakdown step by step by step by step over a 5-week period, 2 days a week. Be prepared to be with me. I tell everybody an hour and a half. Not one of my sessions have been less than 3.5 hours. And reach out to my mentees and they'll tell you I have you up on the ledge the whole time.
I bet.
All right? And I'm introducing you to my funding sources. I'm introducing you to my twin brother, who's the hottest credit repair person in the business. I'm introducing you to my associates and my good friends that are in this business that are doing it to scale. You have no choice but to win around me. So that's my Flips to Profits Mastermind. I also gonna have what's gonna be coming out is a 2-week training. It's called the Real Estate Kickstart. That's gonna be being kickstarted in about 5 weeks. It's a 2-week training. You definitely want to tap in on that. And then I also have the Rents to Profits Mastermind. So I give you guys the entire blueprint. Everything I described real quick in here, I show it to you and I pour into you everything, man. I'm going to shed tears with you. I'm going to show you my wins, my losses. I'm going to provide you real receipts, my bank statements, my credit card statements. Ask them. They'll tell you.
Ain't nobody doing that. I'm going to let you know
I'm
that.
the hottest. Listen to me.
Ain't nobody doing that.
I'm humble, brother. I'm the hottest person out here moving. I'm the hottest one out here moving. I lost. I've been through what I've been through, and I had to ask, really, what is my purpose out here? Real talk. I didn't know. I was trying to follow what a lot of other people were doing, too. I felt maybe I wasn't doing enough. Then I realized that, this is my purpose right here. Where I'm going at it, how I'm going about it, how I'm impacting the people, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I want to see as many people win as possible. 2023 is your time, man. 2024 is really going to be your time, man. Don't be scared. Real estate is where you want to be, man. So just make sure you line yourself up with the right people. Make sure you get the proper education. Make sure you vet the people that you're going to be working with. And come out here and let's play, man.
Let's play. Let's play. Y'all heard it, man. And like I just said, this part 1. We about to get it in. We finna go back to back. And y'all know y'all can follow me on all platforms. I'm at official Xavier Miller. That's on Instagram. And I'm at Xavier C. Miller everywhere else. And you can follow the Millionaire Mindsets podcast. That's on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff, Facebook, everything. Make sure y'all tap in and y'all follow that. And that's all I got for y'all in this episode. See y'all on part 2. Peace.
Gotta get your brain right if you're trying to make $1 million. If you ain't gonna do it for yourself, then do it for your mama. Only stay surrounded by them people if you know they solid. Elevate your hustle up today to double up your profit. Trying to learn some game, Xavier gonna talk about it. No Deanna, speak that shit that everybody vouching. Ain't no more excuses valid. Get up off the couch and get up in your bag. To your bank account, need an accountant.